Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 3 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get into there, I've just got a couple of things I want to go through with you. First of all, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the latest episodes of the In the Saddle podcast. 2 episodes for you this week with the usual gang looking at the weekend racing at Ascot, Haydock and Taunton. And also as well was fortunate to team up with US racing broadcaster Acacia Courtney, friend of the podcast. She's been on a couple of times before. And also as well, Tom Collins from the Racing Post, where we will previewing the Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream. Both gave really good insight and gave their thoughts and feelings on the big race, which will be available to watch on Sky Sports Racing tomorrow evening. So if you're an American racing fan, make sure you listen to it. We've got all the podcast platforms covered. We've got the likes of Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud. We're all available to listen to on there. And if you want to listen to the podcast, just hit one of the links in the description box below. So that's the promotional side out of the way. Also as well, I just quickly want to talk about how our tips ran today. In the end, it wasn't a bad day for us today as we came away with a winning nap. We put up Tommy's Oscar at 11-4 last night. That was quickly gone and was smashed up in the betting. Went off at 13-8 favourite in the end for Danny McMenamin and Anne Hamilton. It looks like Anne Hamilton's got another nice horse on her hands. Obviously, could be a similar type to Nutswell, who was a handicapper and now a Grade 2 winner over fences. And the sky's the limit with this horse. You know, he won on his handicap debut today off a mark of 124. I was a bit frightened at one point because I did think Gubernator, who was his market rival, was going quite well at one point. And our selection just had to be niggled along, but once he got back on the bridle, he showed a great turn of foot and a great cruising speed, and he just asserted away from the rest of the field. I think, to be fair, apart from Gubernator, there wasn't that much in the race for him to worry about, but he still won the race like a nice horse, and who knows what the handicap is going to be doing with him. But I think he's going to be a horse that you want to keep on side for the remainder, at least, of this season, especially over hurdles. I think there's a lot more to come from him, so that was a nice winner there. The other selection we put up today was My Next Best, who also was well backed in the market. That was not the Chablais for Brian Hughes and Nick Alexander. Finished in second place in the end, but just bumped into an improver who was a very impressive winner in the end. That horse made all from the front today, and our selection was never catching that. I don't care how close our selection would have been ridden to the pace. You know, to be fair, our selection was in midfield for the majority of the race, but I think if he tried chasing the leader, he would have got tired and probably wouldn't have even made the frame. So yeah, just unlucky today with that one, but on the whole, good day. And also as well, it continues our good form from Thursday, obviously, where we found the 20-1 winning nap. So that's how today's tips got on. 3 tips I've got for you for tomorrow's racing. Well, I thought this Saturday, even though there's a lot of good racing going on, I thought it wasn't really a betting friendly weekend. So I've just gone for 3 of my strongest selections. Obviously, if you've been following my work for a long time, you know I always like to give quite a few at the weekend, but just 3 to focus on for tomorrow, where we, like I said, got some good action at Ascot and at Haydock, and that's where we're going to be going tomorrow with my first tip. If you've already listened to the In the Saddle podcast, you probably know what my nap's going to be, because it runs in the 1:30 at Haydock. They are going to be holding a precautionary inspection around about 8 o'clock, but I think they are going to be able to go ahead and get the green light, so fingers crossed they do, because I really fancy this horse tomorrow. And it runs in the Supreme Novices Trial, a Grade 2 novice hurdle, and I'm going to be going here with a horse called Minella Drama for Sam Twiston-Davis, and he's riding for Donald McCain. Now this horse has shown some really good form on his last couple of starts. On his first start over hurdles, actually bumped into Lana Darbo Lad, if I can pronounce that right. My Welsh obviously isn't very good, and that day had to give him £5 at Bangor because James Nixon was claiming 5 that day. But Minella Drama still ran a really good effort, and Linardarbo Lad has gone on to boost that form, running some good races since then for Tom Simmons. But tomorrow they're going to be slightly better off the weights. We're in receipt of a swinging £5, so they're actually our selection's actually going to be £10 better off compared to when they met at Bangor on D, and I think that could be easily enough to turn around form. Donald McCain's horses have been in really good form of late, and I think there's a lot to like about this lad. He's got a couple of nice novice hurdlers too, Donald McCain. He's got another horse that I really like called Bareback Jack, and it's been a while since he's had a decent novice hurdler. He actually won this race with the likes of Cinders and Ashes back in the day. It's a race that he's done well in the past, you know, when he went on to win some of the top races back around about 10 years ago in the in the 2 mile novice division. You know, Pegasus Cross as well, he also won this race with, so it's a good race for him down the years, but he hasn't had a good one for a while. But I just think Minella Drama and Bareback Jack could be two that could take him to the big festivals this year. And I think Minella Drama has got a very good chance in this race. Is versatile as well on the ground. I just think there's lots to like about this horse. Don McCain's horse has been running really well since the turn of the year. And I just think with that reverse swing at the weights and the conditions in our lad's favour tomorrow, I think he's going to take another step forward in his progression. And I think at 9-4, that does represent a good bit of value. I should also say I'm recording this video just after 4:45, and that price of 9-4 was available with Bet365, but I've seen with other firms, obviously that price is getting slightly shorter. So if you can still get that price, I still think that's a good selection there, and I'll be disappointed if he can't get his head in front. We then go to Ascot for my next best, which comes in the 150. It looks like a competitive handicap hurdle here, but I thought Janika still represented a bit of value, which is currently available at the time recording at 6-1 with Boyle Sports, who are offering 4 places. I'm going to recommend an each way selection here because I can't really see this horse finishing outside the frame. Has been a really consistent horse for the majority of his career, and he goes well fresh. I was actually at Exeter when he won the 2019 Howden Gold Cup. He looked like he could go on that day and be able to mix it in graded company against the big boys, but ever since then he was slightly disappointing and he never reached those heights. But if you go back before that, he was running some good races and some top handicaps, carrying big weights. He finished second in the Brown Advisory, just going down fighting to Sir Delac, who was in great form that season for Nick Williams. So he's got a lot of good back class, and he hasn't run over hurdles too many times. In fact, only once for Nicky Henderson, but it came in a grade 2, the Ricale hurdle at Cheltenham back in 2020 when he ran on New Year's Day. He was actually made 9-4 favourite then, but he didn't disgrace himself. He finished 4th behind the likes of Somerville Boy, Roxana, William Henry. It was a good renewal of that race, and off a marking here of 147. I think he's more than capable. He goes well fresh, and more importantly as well, he's had a wind up. And Nicky Henderson's team have been in fairly good form in January. They have been amongst the winners. I just thought a 6-1 with 4 places on offer. I'll be disappointed if this lad couldn't at least make the 4. And also as well, I think off a mark of 147, there could be a bit of room for manoeuvre there, and he could be slightly better than his mark and bring a class edge to this field. So I think at 6-1 tomorrow, I think that's a good price. And I think potentially come post time, he could easily go a favourite, maybe 4-1, 7-2, that kind of price. I could see there being a bit of money for Janika tomorrow. So that's going to be my next best of the day if you can still get that price. We then go to the 3 o'clock at Ascot for the long shot of the day. And again, I put this one up in the In the Saddle podcast. In fact, I put all these selections up in the In the Saddle podcast. And the long shot of the day tomorrow runs on the 3 o'clock, and I'm going with Acting Last to get another course and distance win at Ascot. Actually won this race for Harry Fry back in 2018 and hasn't been the most straightforward of horses in his career. Has had a couple of niggly problems along the way, but when he has run at the race course, he's done connections. Great credit, you know, he's actually won and been in some really good races. He actually finished second here off a mark of 147 just before Christmas in 2019 when he just lost to Regal Encore over 3 miles. I think over 2.5 miles will be a good step for him. You know, he's going to have that stamina tomorrow where the ground's really going to be tested, and that might just come into play. He is obviously going to have to define a career best to win this off a mark of 149, but I thought he could still run a good race at his current price of 16-1, where there's 5 places available at the time recording with Paddy Power at that price, and I just thought that that was definitely worth an each way punt. You know, just a small stakes one, but I think there's a lot to like about him. Also as well, he's had a wind up. He did pull up at Bangor on D on his seasonal reappearance, but he often needs his first run of the season, and that was quite a warm race at Bangor on D in that Class 2 handicap, which featured the likes of Not a Chance, who's boosted the form to go and win the Classic Chase at Warwick, and also as well you had the 2 Amigos in there for Nicky Martin, who made the frame in the Welsh National. So it was a good race. I think Acting Last, despite being off a career high mark, I think he can run a good race, and I think he can at least make the frame. So that's why he's going to be my long shot of the day at 16-1, and fingers crossed we can get a good run there for Sean Byrne and Harry Fry. So they're the 3 tips for tomorrow's racing. Quickly just round them off then. The nap then in the 1:30 at Haydock is Minella Drama, 9-4, 1 point win only bet. In the 1 50 at Ascot, we go with Janika at 6 to 1, 1 point each way, 4 places, with Bull Sports at the current time recording at 6 to 1. And then the long shot of the day runs in the 3 o'clock at Ascot. We go Acting Last for Harry Fry at 16 to 1, 5 places each way, with Paddy Power 0.5 each way selection. So they're the 3 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you're enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate all the support and all the new subscribers I've gained recently. Obviously, thanks to that 21 winner, so thanks for all your support. Also as well, let me know in the comments box tomorrow what you fancy. Enjoy reading you guys what you like. Also as well, if you want to follow me on social media, the best place to do so is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.